So, you know, research book was, there is no hard copy, but just a soft copy of the book. The book was in Arabic, but I also have another version in English, but not yet be published. But if anybody want the book, I am ready, and I am happy to send the e-version to him or to her for future collaboration, inshallah. So my topic of today is about secrets from the Holy Quran. I call it secrets from the Holy Quran, not secret of, because we cannot cover all secrets. So we are just trying to get some of these secrets from the Holy Quran and from statistical perspective. Of course, there are many knowledge we can extract from the Holy Quran. Cannot cover everything, but we try our best to somehow find some of these knowledge and wisdom from the Holy Quran. So what I'm going to discuss today, beside the introduction, the objectives of this research, some statistics, what is the statistic benefit of statistics in the Holy Quran, rules and the process, statistic on chapters, surah, words, letters, and marking signs in the Quran, chronological order of revelation, places of prophets, prostration, Asma'ul Husna in the Holy Quran, special statistics of few chapters or surah, characteristics of some surah, repetition of verses, words in the Quran, and conclusion. So, as we know, there is no doubt that the Quran is the word of Allah that is unchangeable, the most accurate in its verses, words, letters, and arrangement that cannot be moved forward or backward, no deletion or addition on it. This work aimed to put a useful data for scholars who are specialized in the science of Quran, interpretation, tafsir, ulum al-Quran, Arabic linguistic, and the scientific miracles, al-i'jaz al-Qurani. This data can be used to develop what's useful for Muslim and convincing to others. And we are trying, we will see today some of those useful information, and I am sure there are a lot of more. This work has provided the miracles, has proved the miracles of the Holy Quran, increased the sense in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the greatness, the sincerity of his book, and increase the faith of those who believe on it. So now what is the statistic? Statistic is the science of obtaining, analyzing, and interpreting data, and has application in almost every field. Many of our researchers, many of our students, they use the statistic in their research, sometimes simple statistics, sometimes more advanced. They use some other system like SPSS, like AMOS. They use statistic in their research to analyze the data, to find a lot of useful information from the data. And this is what we are trying to do today. We are using actually simple statistic to find some characteristics of surahs or chapters, of words of Quran, and so on. Statistics is the branch of mathematics that transform numbers into useful information for decision makers. Statistics provide a set of methods for analyzing the numbers. It provides a way for understanding and then reducing, but not eliminating, the variation that is part of any decision-making process. Now, statistics in the Holy Quran. What is the benefit of this study? Some of these benefits are more research fields in the Quranic study. So now we are focusing on one angle. So we can find many other aspects of research we can do from this angle. Create value in understanding the Quran, explore the maqasid or objectives of the Quran, find the characteristic of each surah chapter, make memorizing the Quran easier, assist in learning Arabic language, show the beautification of the structure of the Quran, an overview on the balanced universe created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, an addition method to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator. These are some, and you will discover many other benefits of doing this kind of research. And of course, you can link the words, you can link the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to other science and different fields of research. Some rules about this work, because we need to set the rule from the beginning. Number one, we are using the text that we know in front of us, in our hands, the text, we call it Uthmani based of writing the Quran. You know, the third Khalifa after Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar ibn al-Khattab, Uthman ibn Affan. During his time, he collected and copied the Quran and sent it to different states. So that's why some of these copies are still available in some museum. That's why Uthmani-based writing. So just to put the rule, because not the spelling writing, because some words maybe we pronounce differently, but the writing, it's a standard. So we are following the writing one, not the pronouncing. So also, for example, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, some scholars, they consider first verse of the surah only in Al-Fatiha, first verse. So we need to put the rule first after we continue. So I put here the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the first verse of Al-Fatiha, only Al-Fatiha, the other surah, no, it's not considered the first verse. The computer was used for the collection and initial classification of the Quranic database process. It was also used in most of the statistics data reported in this work. The process, general statistics, I will provide statistics of the Meccan and Medinian Suras, prophets mentions in the Holy Quran, revelation order and comparison with the Quranic order of the surah, places of prostration, the sujood in Quran, most frequent names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Asma al-Husna, statistics of the verses, root of the Quranic words, and most frequently mentioned words, statistics of the letters, ratio of number of letters to words, ratio of number of letters to verses of the Quran, and also some special statistics on specific surah. General statistics in the Quran, as we know, 114 surah divided into 30 parts, 30 juzu, 87 revealed in Mecca and 27 in Medina. This is, of course, based on some references. You can find it in the book. And the number of verses are 6,236 verses. Of course, this is based on the riwayat Hafiz and Asim, based on the most popular the recitation nowadays and most popular qira'ah, because there are a few different qira'ats. Actually, the change is very different, very minor, but at least this is what the main I need to inform. So the number of words are 77,479. The number of letters are also 324,000 plus. So this are some rules we are using based on what the verses has been counted, the words, the letters, and marking signs. For example, some details we need to put from the beginning for different letters and how to count. So these are some details. So I will skip. Beginning of Quranic surah or chapters. Quranic surah begin variously by, for example, praising like يسبح لله سبحان الذي. So 7 of them, while thanking Alhamdulillah for surah, swearing like for example والضحى والعصر 15 surah, calling Allah like يا أيها النبي يا أيها الناس 10 of them, and also by unjoined Quranic letters like Alif Lam Mim, like Hamim, 31 surah. Ending of Quranic surah. Some Quranic surah have similar ending, many of them by the name of Allah, the Asma'ul Husna, and also thanking Allah, Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, 2 of them, praising Allah, فسبح باسم ربك العظيم 2. Some end with the qualities of believers or qualities of unbelievers. Also 3 surah in the last verse are contains sujood, prostration. Some surah, as we know, revealed in Mecca, some other revealed in Medina. So 87 revealed in Mecca, while 27 revealed in Medina. And scholars differentiate for example, chapters revealed in Mecca usually shorter, while those revealed in Medina longer. Anyway, if we these are the 114 surah in the graph. If we put in order, we see the first one, blue color, that means in Mecca, the second, third, fourth, fifth in Medina, and so on. So this graph shows us the order of Quranic chapters, surah, and revealed in Mecca or Medina. The second graph also shows us the number of chapters revealed in Mecca and Medina. This is actually what I'm trying to see here, to do here. One of the surah in Mecca and Medina, actually none, and you can find many books about this topic, but what I am trying to do is to visualize. This is the one of what we can do by IT. We can visualize the data, we can find, we can read the data from different angles. About the prophets mentioned in the Holy Quran, there are 26 names of prophets mentioned in the Quran, estimated, because some names, I mean, we are not sure whether this is a prophet or no, like for example, Luqman. Some say this is a good person. Some others said he is also a prophet. That's why I included. So it's not, I mean, we are not sure, but I included all. So this is the number of how many times mentioned. For example, Adam 25 times, Idris twice only, Noah 43 times. And this is, you can see the prophets' names mentioned in the Quran. And you can see the Prophet Musa mentioned 136 times. You can see from here, you can see how many times. This is the most frequent name of the prophet, followed by Ibrahim. So Ibrahim 69 times. So this is how to visualize the data and read it from statistics perspective. You can see the significance. Of course, here I did not include in this graph the Prophet Muhammad والسلام, based on some based on some one book called Dhikr al-Rasul. In this book has covered 2,672 places in which the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, was stated in the book of Allah, and they are distributed in 1,203 verses, because many times mentioned not by his name. His name only mentioned 4 times, Muhammad, 4 times only, but like a Nabi, like a Rasul, like you, or maybe say, Qul, so mentioned in different ways. So this book covered 2,672 places. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned directly or indirectly. So, but his name only 4 times, while other prophets are different. So that's why I did not included his name in the graph, but of course he's one of the 26. Just for your information, maybe you can see here from this list, the Prophet Adam mentioned 25 times, as well as Prophet Isa, Jusis, also 25 times. Maybe this just for to mention, there's one verse in Surah Al-Imran, verse number 59. إن مثل عيسى عند الله كمثل آدم. The likeness of Jusis in God's sight is that of Adam. Of course, this is related to the creation. He created him from dust, then said to him, be, and he was. But just to also to mention that both of them mentioned in the Quran 25 times. So this is chronological order of revelation. You can see below, we have 114 surah. The first one, this is based on the order, while here based on the revelation. For example, Al-Fatiha, first one, but actually this is revealed number 5. For example, number 96, this is Iqra, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, Al-Alaq, Surah Al-Alaq. This one, first based on revelation, but 96 in Mus'haf, in the order of Mus'haf. So this graph show you the order of revelation of the surah versus order of the Mus'haf. And you can see from the graph that there are some surah, for example, here in the middle, there are a few surahs, 8 of them, they have the same sequence in both, in the order of Mus'haf as well as in the order of revelation. The 8 surahs are الزمر, غافر, فصلت, الشورى, الزخرف, الدخان, الجاثية, الأحقاف. 8 of them, they have the same sequence based on revelation, based on Mus'haf. They have the same order, as well as some other surahs, like for example Yunus, Hud, Yusuf. The 3 of them, the same based on revelation, based on the order of Mus'haf, like also Maryam, Nuh, Maryam, Taha. Sorry, they have also the same order both, and some other as well. This places of prostration in the Quran, as we know that there are 15 places of sujood. For example, in Surah Al-A'raf, verse number 206, followed by Surah Al-Ra'd, verse number 15, An-Nahl 50, Al-Isra 109, and so on. This graph at the bottom, if we put the order based on the verses of Quran from first verse until the last one, min al-jinnati wan nas, we will see that the first one was here, so you can see about first part of the Quran has no verse of sujood, and then you can see the concentration on the middle. And the other graph here, you can see at the left, this is if I draw the graph, the beginning of the surah, and here the end of the surah, here the middle of the surah. Also, you will see that there is no sujood, there is no verse of sujood at the beginning of all different surah and chapters of Quran, while at the end, you can see 3 of them at the last verse and another 2 just before. So this is show you from different angle. This is what I'm trying to do here. I don't have any data from my own. The data actually well done. Anybody can refer to the data from internet. You can find a lot. You can also find it by yourself. Open the Mus'haf and you count by yourself the sujood and verses. But I'm trying here to visualize. So when we visualize, we can find and we can detect some other information that it's not easy to read manually. So here show us different information. This is the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the 99 one, and also how many times mentioned. This is the Quranic verses, the verses, this is the surah and verses. For example, Al-Fatiha here, and then followed by Al-Baqarah, how many verses. So drawing the number of verses, 114 surah, and drawing the verses of each surah that show us this graph. So the longest verses in the Quran, these are the list of 25 longest verses in terms of number of words. Here also another one in terms of number of letters, because there is some, if you count the letters, if you count the words, you will find some different order. But for example, both of them, Al-Baqarah verse number 282, this is the longest verse in terms of numbers of words, in terms of number of letters. These are the shortest verses in the Quran in terms of number of words. There are a few verses has one word only. For example, Taha, Yasin. This is one verse, one word. Like Hamim. This is one verse, one word. And also the shortest verses in the Quran in terms of the number of letters. Also, we have many of them has 2 letters only, like as we mentioned, Taha, 2 letters, Yasin, 2 letters, Hamim, 2 letters only. If we draw also the 114 surah, and in terms of number of words, we can get this graph. This is last time was based on the number of verses, the surah and verses, now surah and words. The root of Quranic words, the number of roots of the words mentioned in the Quran is 1,767 roots. So last time we mentioned the number of words are 77,000, but actually the roots are only 1,767. The most repeated roots, for example, an, min, ilah, ma, and so on. This is, for example, the first one mentioned 4,037 times. The top 50 roots represent more than 52% of the total Quranic words. So, for example, here, when I mentioned the benefits at the beginning, when I mentioned the benefits, for example, about learning Arabic language. So if we focus on the top 50 roots, we can understand 52% of the Quranic words. So this is what we can, how to benefit from this data. For example, let us say here, Rab, Ilm, for example, Qawm, for example, Rusul, and so on. The top 50 roots represent more than 52%, 52 point something. This is the length of words in the Quran. There are three words. This is the length of words according to the number of letters. There are 3 words has 1 letter only, which is the Nun, Qaf, Sad. So 3 letters, 3 words has 1 letter. And we have 11,000 plus words has 2 letters. Like, for example, Qul, like Min, like, for example, Hamim. And we have 16,000 plus words has 3 letters, 17,000 plus words has 4 letters, and then we have 3 at the end. We have 3 words has 11 letters. These are the details, and if we draw this table in a graph, you will see like this. You can see the most frequent words in the Quran has 4 letters. The most of the words contains 4 letters, and followed by 3 letters, followed by 5, and so on. So repetition of words. This is just now the table I show you about the roots. So based on the exact words, exactly, the most frequent one is min, 2366, followed by Allah, 2153, followed by fi, ma, alladhina. This is the exact words. There are 17,622 words, different words. This is, of course, exactly. That means here, for example, Allahu, different from Allahi. For example, qala, different from yaqul. I mean, not based on root, but based on exact words. What tell us this data? For example, if we, as an example, if we draw Surah Al-Saffat, based on these are the verses of Surah Al-Saffat and the number of words of each verse, we will find at the middle there is one verse very long. This is when we visualize the data, we can detect some information that it's not easy to detect when we read. We always read the recite the Quran, but sometimes some of these data may be not easy to detect manually. So you can see the verse number 102 at the middle of the surah is significant. Same thing, if we draw Surah Al-Najm, we will see at the middle, there are a few long verses, while at the beginning, at the end, the verses are short. At the middle, the long. I mean, this tells us some information, some extra information that it's not easy to find manually by just reciting the surah. I mean, sometimes we cannot detect some information like this, but by visualizing the data, may be easier to detect such data. What does this mean? I mean, this is, I don't consider this is my job to tell what does this mean, but my job is to provide this information and then let specialized people in the ulum al-Quran, Quranic science, those working in tafsir of Quran. So let them try to tell us what does this mean and why. For example, this is also Surah Al-Muddathir. At the middle, there is one verse very long, which is the verse number 31. This verse has 57 words, while the average of other words, the average is 3.6. The average of the verses, the average of the verses in the Surah Al-Muddathir is just 3.6. At the middle, there is one very long 57. I mean, why this one long at the middle? What does it mean? What is the information that need to be like this? I mean, this I leave it to scholars to tell us, but my job is to show this characteristic of the surah. Letters of the Holy Quran, same thing. You know, alif, ba, ta, tha. This is how many times mentioned each one of them, including al-hamza. So this is also, and this is also the letters. Just now I showed the graph of verses, words, now the letters. From first surah, how many letters, second one, third, and so on. This graph shows us the letters. Of course, some verses of Quran, there is the end of the verses. There is no any verse ended by the harf, kha, and ghain. No any verse ended by these two letters. As well as waw also. But waw followed by alif, yes, there are. Also, the verses ended by ha and dad only once. While more than half of the verses ended by noon. More than 50% of the verses of Quran ended by noon. So this is also tell us some different information. By the way, when we talk about the verses, the letters of Quran, if we see the characteristic of some surah, we find, for example, the harf ra, the letter ra, in the Quran mentioned 3.82%. While, for example, in Surah Al-Sharh, Alam Nashrah Laka Sadrak, 12.7% of the surah is this letter. For example, the letter Sad in the Quran is the size of this letter in the Quran is 0.64%, while in Surah Al-Asr والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر 7% of the Surah Al-Asr is Sad, while in the Quran is just 0. That means more than 10%. I mean, this is show us some significant, some characteristic of the surah. Same thing, for example, Ta in Surah Al-Humaza, for example, Fa in Surah Al-Fil is significant. For example, Sin in Surah An-Nas, Sin in the Quran is 1.85% of that means the size of the letter of the Quran is just 1.85, while in Surah An-Nas 12.5 of the Surah Al-Nas is Sin. You can find a lot of information like this to find the characteristic of the surah, the speciality of the surah. Here, this is the Arabic marking sign. Beside the letters, we also studied Fathah, Dhamma, Kasra. How many times mentioned in the Quran? Shadda, Sukun, Tanween, Al-Fath, and so on. This is how many times mentioned. For example, the Fathah mentioned 123,000 times, plus. If you have the data, drawing the tables and the graphs is very easy, but you need to have the data. And alhamdulillah, I have the data, so very easy. You can do any other analysis from the data you can do. For example, this is one of the marking signs, which is a Fathah. If we draw all the surah, how many Fathah in the first surah, how many Fathah, you can see the graph like this. And you will notice that, for example, Surah Al-Duha has many Fathah, 54, more than 54% of the number of letters they have Fathah. While, for example, Surah An-Nas, only 23% of the number of letters has Fathah. I mean, this is just also tell us some characteristic of the chapters and surah of the Quran. Same analysis done for other marking signs, Dhamma, Kasra, Tanween, and so on. Not only Fathah, but all of them. Special statistics for selected surah. I hope I still have time. Okay, for example, I selected one surah because we can do same analysis for each surah. So this is, for example, I chose Surah An-Nisa, and I did 7 parts of analysis. This is the 7 parts, the general information in numerical. Let us go and see. This surah, for example, order in the Mus'haf is 4, number 4 in the Mus'haf, order of revelation 92, revealed in Medina, and number of verses 176, number of words, number of letters, and then average number of words in each verse, 21. So this is the average number of words in each verse. Each verse, the average each verse they have about 21 words. Average of number of letters. Each verse about 91 letters. Average number of letters in each word, about 4 letters for each words. And then the size of Surah An-Nisa comparing to the Holy Quran. This is the Surah An-Nisa in the Holy Quran, the size 2.8+% of the Holy Quran. This is the size, and then the size of the words and letters. And then the repetition of the letters, how many alif in Surah An-Nisa, how many ba, ta, tha, jim in Surah An-Nisa. And we can see this graph. Also, we can draw the graph and compare it to the Holy Quran. I mean, how many times the average in the Quran and the average in Surah An-Nisa. We can compare Surah An-Nisa with all other surahs together. The characteristic. This is marking signs, how many Fathah in Surah An-Nisa. For example, 5,798 Fathah in Surah An-Nisa, how many Dhamma, how many Kasra, and so on. And this is also comparing how many Fathah, the average, with the all chapters of Quran together. So because to find the significant, we need to compare. Same thing done for other Surah Al-Qadr, for example. This is also the Surah order, revelation, Meccan Surah, number of verses, number of words, and so on. And then also compare you will find here Surah Al-Qadr, the letter Ra is significant. If you compare, you can see the Ra here comparing to the Ra in the Quran. You can see almost more than double. This is when we compare how we compare. But of course, this short surah, it may give us more information. Surah Al-Humazah, same thing. Also, for example, the letter Dal, you can see Dal in Surah Al-Humazah significant. The letter Ta al-Marbuta, significant in Surah Al-Humazah. More than 10 times comparing to the all chapters together. Same thing, Surah Al-Ikhlas, for example, here also the Dal also significant in Surah Al-Ikhlas. For example, here Surah An-Nas as an example, also Sin, the letter Sin also significant comparing to the others. These are when we focus on the specific surah together. Same thing, not only letters, but also if we study the words. For example, in Surah Maryam, in the word Ar-Rahman, mentioned in the Quran 48 times. The 48 times, 16 of them in one surah, in Surah Maryam. So you can see here, these are the 16 verses. So that means this is also tell us something. Here, try to conclude anything. I mean, what is the relation between Rahmah and Surah Maryam? What's mentioned in Surah Maryam? Maybe about Isa, the birth of Isa, the life of Isa, Prophet Isa alayhi salam, juices. I mean, I did not conclude anything. I am not trying to conclude. I am providing data. So let the scholars try to read and understand and explain to us why Ar-Rahman. Of course, this is the exactly Ar-Rahman. I'm not talking about Rahmah in general. For example, Rahim, Rahmah, for example, like Arhamur Rahimin. I'm just exactly Ar-Rahman. For example, numbers in the Quran mentioned also number 1, ilahukum ilahu wahid. Wahid 1. Here also the second one, min al-ibil ithnain, 2, 3, 4. Many numbers mentioned in the Quran. I will skip. The repetition of verses also. This one can help us. For example, when we do the interpretation, tafsir, can help us. The repetition. You can refer to the first one. For example, there are 4 verses. This is the longest group of verses repeated twice in Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse number 5, 6, 7, 8, as well as in Surah Al-Ma'arij, 29, 30, 31, 32. This is the longest one, followed by these 2, 3 verses together, followed by other verses. So this can help us when we can link the verses together. In the same surah, the most repeated one, the most frequent repeated one was فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ in the same surah 31 times, followed by وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ in Surah Al-Shu'ara 8 times, and so on. So this is in the same surah repetition. This is also tell us the characteristic of the surah. When we want to study the the objective of the surah. For example, just now we saw Ar-Rahman in Surah Maryam. So this is tell us about maqasid. Maqasid means objective of the surah. What this surah trying to tell us? Repeating the one word in the same surah. For example, let us see the short surah. For example, Al-Qadr. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. The word Al-Qadr mentioned 3 times in the same surah. Very short surah, but mentioned 3 times. For example, the word Lahab in Surah Al-Masad, Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. Lahab mentioned it twice. So the repetition of words in one surah. So tell us some characteristic of the surah, as well as the unique words. Here this is another data. The unique words mentioned once only in the Quran, unique words in some surah. So this is also tell us some characteristic of the surah, some uniqueness of the surah, the objective of the surah. For example, let me see. For example, Surah Al-Alaq. The word Al-Akram, exactly Al-Akram. Of course, the root of the word mentioned, but exactly Al-Akram mentioned only in Surah Al-Alaq, no other places. Bil Qalam, of course, Al-Qalam mentioned in Surah Nun wal Qalami, but Bil Qalam exactly mentioned only once in the Quran in Surah Al-Alaq. La yatgha, ar-ruj'a, yanha, bit-taqwa, bin-nasiya, lanasfa'an. All these words are unique words, not mentioned in any other places in the Quran, only in this surah. As well as, for example, let us say also, for example, Surah Al-Fil. Bi ashab, تضليل, أبابيل, وأرسل, بحجارة, ترميهم, كعصف, مأكول. All these words are unique words in the Quran, was not mentioned in any other surah. So these also tell us some uniqueness of the surah, some characteristic of the surah, some speciality of the surah. So it helped some people. Maybe for some people, they study what is the speciality in Surah Al-Duha, what is the speciality in Surah, for example, Al-Baqarah. Same thing here, for example, other surah, the unique words. So conclusion, statistical rules used in this study have been introduced at the beginning of the study. This study included a scientific and systematic guide of specific chapters, such as the order of Quran, and order based on revelation. It also included a guide of the words of the Quran according to the length, root, and repetition. Moreover, the study included guide of the Quranic letters, marking sign. Finally, this work contains a lot of accurate information because the calculation was done by the computer. If we have the data, and the data actually now provided in the internet, if we have the data, we can find very accurate, better, because there are many books in the past, starting from 100 after Hijrah, some counting of words and letters. But when we count manually, I mean, the possibility to have some mistake and error. But if we count by the computer, of course, you know, the computer can count much better and much faster and very accurate information, and these information are hoped to be very beneficial to researchers in various fields, such as researcher in Arabic language, in numerical and scientific miracles of the Quran, and researcher in interpretation of the Holy Quran and its sciences, and other fields that provide knowledge about the Quran. Thank you very much. And I end here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akram. MashaAllah, I think that is very tremendous work of statistical analysis and visualizations. Inshallah, I think it will be very beneficial for you. Inshallah. Okay, so we have 5 minutes now. I would like to open questions to the floor. If anyone would like to ask questions for Dr. Akram.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Akram, I have some questions.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. Number one, I'm very interested in how you found that Surah An-Nisa has a very same pattern in terms of the letters with the rest of the Quran, because I think that is maybe was a discovery when you analyze all of the surah, right? So like it's very interesting the way the pattern. But anyway, I have a different question because before this they have spread it everywhere. It says that certain words was occurring in the Quran in a certain numbers. For example, let's say they say that the word as-salah appear exactly 17 times due to no, I think it says 5 times, something like that. It's because we pray 5. So I feel like, is this really accurate? Because that one has been going around for years. And then certain words appear, for example, the words al-ard and I think the asama appears same number of times and those kind of things. Of course, it looks very interesting, but I'm not sure whether it has grounding or evidence to support that. But for example, the word Solar, I think it has more than that, the way it was claimed. So I was hoping somebody would do this, but now I feel like so glad that you are just what you have done so far with the words that maybe all of us can refer to, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mazna. Yes, actually, there are many statistics available in the internet. I also found when I tried to check how accuracy, many of them actually maybe they did not explain the methods of doing the calculation and counting the numbers and words. They should explain the methods very clearly, because this is very important. That's why I explain at the beginning my method, and in my research also, always at the beginning we should put the methods. For example, the letter wa, which is and. This is some of them they counted wa as a word. Some other they did not count wa as a word. They consider wa is, for example, was samawat, wallah. This is not a word between two words. This is just combined with the next word. I mean, they should exactly put the rule they use. For example, as-salawat. Yes, if we check the root of as-salah many times, how they found that as-salawat 5 times? Maybe they focus on maybe one of the term of the word, but they should explain exactly. Otherwise, I mean, it's not accurate. I found also maybe they have their own calculation, but everyone should explain exactly the methods they use. Otherwise, I mean, I cannot answer, because I also found that many of them are not accurate. Maybe they have their own methods, but it should be clear what is the method they use. Maybe they refer to different qira'a, maybe whatever, but it should be stated very clearly. At least here I try my best to put the very accurate data, and inshallah it's compared to others, hope it's much better. But I did not find what I mentioned. For example, I mentioned about Prophet Isa and Prophet Adam exactly same, but other data they provided in the internet, the number of as-salah, the number of angels, the number of, I did not find that information are accurate. Wallahu alam. Anyway, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Akram. I have 2 questions at the chat space here. First, from Dr. Azura, is there any significant lesson that we can reflect based on these statistics? And please advise, as a computer researcher, how can we use these statistics in our research?
Okay, for example, when I order the most frequent words, this is for teaching, for example, Arabic. We can focus on the most frequent words, because if we focus on the most frequent words, easier to learn the language. So easier to understand the Quran when we read, because we at least now we know how many how many words of Quranic words. This is one. Another thing, for example, last time I have when a student was doing mind mapping, trying to draw mind mapping for each surah. Of course, if we have data, we know that, for example, Ar-Rahman mentioned many times in Surah Maryam. So we know, based on the data, easier to do other research, related research. So I try to draw the mind map to link the information together to what's the main purpose of the surah or main objective of the surah or chapter, and then the sub objective. Of course, a lot of data we can extract from there, but I'm not trying to reach to that level. I'm trying to be in the safe side, just to provide the data, let the scholars read this data and try to come out with some conclusion. But I'm trying to just to provide the data. This is what I can do in this level. Maybe in the future, I also try to study details, but at least in this level, providing the data. Maybe some of these data can be read and understand easily. Some other data, maybe some people, they may think it's just a numbering which is not really ready to be used. Fine, which is fine, but the most important thing is to provide the accurate data now. After that, we know and we think and we study how to benefit from this data.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Akram. Another one question from Dr. Shima. What is the hikmah or benefits of knowing how many times the word or letter or percentage occur or appear in the Quran? Perhaps this is based on your motivations of doing this research as well.
Yeah. Actually, because the Quran is a special. That's why we are analyzing this in these details. I saw some similar research, not on Quran. For example, last time I think Prof. Asst, he was collecting a newspaper and analyzing the newspaper, and to know this community, how they talk, what they focus on, and so on. I know some research, they analyze the Quranic words. At the same time, they analyze hadith. And they found that the data tell you that the speaker of this hadith is different from the speaker of the Quran. The data tell you, because, and if you analyze any other book, for example, if you analyze a few books of one author, you will find the characteristic of the author. He always use same word, always use the same way of how to tell, how to repeat, and so on. So I came across one research. They analyze the Quranic words and they analyze hadith, and they found that impossible for the speaker of hadith is to be the Quran. Is total different. So this is convenience for proof for non-believers, those who say that the Quran is from Mohammed, not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the data tell you this is not same, different style, different sequence, different word used in hadith comparing to Quran. This is one example of data we can make use of it, but of course a lot of other useful information also can be done in the future. So okay, I hope I answered.
I have one request from Professor Sadullah. Professor Sadullah, Professor, would you like to ask questions?
Prof, unmute your mic.
Yes.
I have also Brother Rushdie.
Okay, yeah. Brother Rushdie is raising hands just now. Or is it by mistake?
Yes, I have one question.
All right. Yes, please.
Okay, so it's me or Professor? Okay. So actually, thank you, Dr. Akram, for a very interesting presentation. I just it's very interesting to look when you compare the pattern of the letters just now between, I forgot what is a surah, but it's a Medina surah with the whole Quran. Do you happen to compare, for example, the patterns of the letters between all surah which were revealed in Medina? It could be they are having kind of the same patterns, or comparing between all surah revealed in Medina and comparing all surah revealed in Mecca, and then maybe on top of that compare all of them so with the the total patterns of letters in the Quran, which I think is going to be interesting. Just do you happen to do that?
I did not do, but I have one book. They mentioned the unique words in Surah revealed in Mecca, and another one, the unique words in Surah and chapters revealed in Medina. So they have some comparison. They listed the unique words in order to find the same thing, to find what is the characteristic of those surah revealed in Mecca compared to Medina. Yes, I did not do, but I have some useful information related to this analysis.
Okay, if you can share with me.
Yes, inshallah, yes, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Akram and Brother Rishdi for the question. Also, all participants. I think this is a very participative and interesting sessions today. Alhamdulillah. So we are 1:07 p.m. It's lunch hour right now. So
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Hazwani.
Yes.
Can I make an announcement?
Okay, yes, please.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Akram, and also Dr. Hazwani for this interesting talk and interesting topic. So in line with the KICT Takrim 2021, we are going to have a series of research seminar from the research unit and also the research cluster, okay, from KICT. And tomorrow we are going to have one interesting topic as well from Professor Muhammad Fauzan Nordin, the head of research cluster ICT and Islam. The topic will be 15 guidances from Surah Al-Hujurat for social media. And the moderator will be Associate Professor Dr. Akram. Okay, so tomorrow, the talk will be tomorrow on 28th on Wednesday at 11 a.m. So I invite all the audience to join to the talk tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zira. Okay, lastly, I would like to thank Sister Dr. Akram again for sharing with us. Inshallah, I think this is very beneficial for us as the Muslims and also as the researcher. And lastly, let us close our sessions with Tasbih Firah and Sila wal Asr.
Thank you very much.
Very much, everyone.
For Hazwani. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Inshallah, see you for the
Thank you, everyone.
Takrim.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.